Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. I give to the needy, not to the greedy. We are back. We are back. We are back. Okay, you guys. So today, apparently, they released the footage of George Floyd being arrested and subsequently murdered. Okay, and so since the release of this footage, we have people out here trying to use the footage as a excuse almost to say, he should have died, it was okay, he shouldn't have been doing drugs, and he shouldn't have. It's all about what he have been doing. And we know this is going to happen. We know people are going to come out in opposition, or just to try to go against the grain. And then we have people who really certain believe certain things. Then we have people who do it for attention. So what I'm going to do is if you guys listen, if you guys know me as a host, as a person here on the radio, or even the stuff that I'll do on the internet, I never really talk about what other Black people do in a negative manner. I try to stay away from it, especially when I'm talking about an individual directly. But today I have to talk about a certain individual. It's a guy. His name is Anthony Brian Logan. All right. And so what he is a YouTuber. Let me see. This guy, he did a video today. It has 89,000 views. And as far as subscribers, I'm not sure how many. He has 659,000 subscribers. And just based on the amount of views, he may be rivaling some of your favorite news stations. It's definitely outdoing your local newspaper. The old gray lady isn't performing the way that it used to. She ain't performing like she used to. And so we have these internet people that have a following, and they put out these narratives. And sometimes the narratives are sorely lacking nuance, but then you have to remember that, again, are they doing it on purpose? Are they just lost? I think, in fact, this guy is doing it on purpose. And so I had to think about it. I said, do I want to take the time, or should I actually even play a part of his show so people can understand what I'm talking about? And, I wrestled with it and said, do I want to give him that type of play here, right? And, he doesn't curse or anything like that. He calls himself, if I'm not mistaken, a Christian man. And just because you're a Christian man don't mean you're not full of it. It don't mean that you're not inauthentic. It does not mean you're not an opportunist, because I know people that sit in church every Sunday and they do wrong Monday through Saturday night. And then even Sunday night after church. But, some people go to church so they can make up for the stuff that they did all week. So, this guy, and this is he's a proud American. He's a super Donald Trump supporter. And again, I don't get on people for being Donald Trump supporters or Joe Biden supporters. But my thing is, when you start to purposefully mix things up and lie to people and try to persuade people based on non-truths, that's when I get bothered. And the way he does it, it's almost appalling to me. So I am going to drag him just to the carpet just a little bit. I'm not here to scuff the guy up too bad, but I just want to, I want you guys to be aware of these opinions. I want you to be aware of these people who have these thoughts, who have these big old followings that a lot of us really don't know anything about. And then you hear people running around parroting what these guys are saying, literally saying the same stuff. a crew of them. It's a crew. They like to click. And they're making good money, but at the same time, they're tainting people's minds with a lack of nuance and disinformation. And they always find a way to make the black person at fault. At fault, always. I saw a video once, and there's another guy that's in his same type of camp. There was a Caucasian lady who was yelling obscenities and calling some black people the N-word. And he went on to take up for her. Oh, well, she's just not in the right mind. But always, anytime it comes down to black people, they are going to be in the wrong. We will never be correct when it comes to these people. And when it comes to the police, they always give them far more depth than they would black people. Just off the giddy up. And so look, we're gonna come on over here. Let me turn down the sound in the background. I like that Jay Dilla playing in the background. I like the way that sounds. Let me go over here and do that real quick. And we're gonna come over here and we're gonna listen to him just for a little while. I have to give you at least a few minutes just to give you full context, because I don't like to play clips, because I think very short clips are, I don't think they're fair to the listener. And I don't think they're fair to the person that only has the clip being played. So I'm going to play enough of it, and I want you guys' opinion. Let me know what you think. The phone number is 713-668-1230. Now, let me know if you guys hear him trying to make an excuse for the reason George Floyd was killed, basically trying to say it's your fault. All right? And so we're going to play some of that, and then I'm going to go ahead and give my response to it. But again, no matter how repugnant it is, just give it a second, you guys, because I have to play it with enough context for you to understand that I'm not going to just play something that's just a small clip. So I'm going to give you at least a couple minutes of it just so you can understand where he's going, so you can see where I'm going. So let me go ahead and play this guy. And I'm not going to call him any bad names. I'm not going to call him a coon or nothing like that. I don't get into calling people a coon, because to me that's very subjective. I understand people come from different places, different backgrounds, and I also understand the origin of the word coon. I understand that coon was something that white people would call black people when they disliked them. So if you were trying to escape from the plantation, they would call you a coon. And now we call people we don't like coons. So we have taken something that was very derogatory toward us and called other people who look just like us coons. And oftentimes it's just because of a philosophical difference. Now, I'm not calling this guy a coon because I don't go by those words, but I do think he does pander toward white crowds and Republican crowds. And I don't think he does it because that's how he authentically feels. I think that's how he has created a following of over 6,000 people. Because you guys the truth, and I might have like 8 people. Here we go. Let's listen to him a little bit.
Body cam footage that has been released to the internet. You have 18 minutes of the body cam footage. It starts from the very beginning where the store owner talking to the police saying, hey, this guy's out there trying to pass a fake bill, to the point up to the car. They're trying to arrest Floyd. He's resisting. And then it goes to the point where he's on the ground and his knees on his neck. Now, I cannot play that here, obviously. I can play little points of it throughout the video, but I can't play the entire thing. If you want to see that, a link will be in the description box below. You can see the entire footage in full, but let me get back to it. So the tape starts with the store owner, like I said, he's talking to the police saying, hey, this guy's trying to pass a fake bill. Now, the police go out, and George Floyd and 2 of his friends or acquaintances or whatever are in this black SUV type vehicle. And then he has 2 passengers. It's a male in the front seat. It's a female in the back seat. I think there might have been his co-workers or somebody that he knew, or he may know both of them. He was giving them a ride. Now, the police talking to everybody in the car, not just George Floyd. Okay, George Floyd was a guy that they said had the fake bill, but it spoke to the other passengers. Now, the tape starts from what I saw, or like the longer one, because you got 2 different ones. The 18-minute one has a different perspective. And the 18-minute one, he's talking to the passenger, is a black male. And he's cool. Everything is straight. He's just asking them questions. The guy's real calm. It's not escalated. The police, they're not escalated. The guy's not escalated. Everything's pretty much on the up and up. They just asked him questions about what was he doing, where was he going. He's like, I was trying to get a laptop. I got my change back. You can ask the guy. He was real cool. And then the officer asked for his ID. And he got up out the car, asked, could he reach into his pocket to get his ID? Officer's like, yeah, sure, go ahead. He pulled his ID out. And then he kind of got not really pushed, but just kind of like guided back into the car to sit down when George Floyd began to act up. Because
see, when he say he not really pushed, he kind of guided him back into the car. No, he pushed him. Again, he's always giving that extra deference to the police officer, but he won't give it to George Floyd in this case. But just keep listening, because you see how he's building up. He's almost building up the case like a prosecutor who's trying to prosecute George Floyd. Let's listen to it a little more.
Because one officer was on one side talking to the passenger, and the other officers on the other side talking to George Floyd.
It's ABL.
George Floyd is erratic.
It's Officer Tatum's best
from
friend.
The very beginning. Now, according to the autopsy that I've seen, I think there's at least 2 autopsies. One autopsy said that George Floyd did not die as a result of the knee. The other one said he did. But I think in both autopsies, they did say that he had methamphetamine in the system, also cannabis, weed, or whatever. But most importantly, the fentanyl and the meth. Now, it looked like the meth was talking when he was in the car talking to the officer. He's really erratic. Floyd was not listening to anything. He was going a mile a minute, just really erratic. Now, contrast that to the passenger, who was calm, cool, and collected. It was no problem, no nothing. Everything was good. Why would the passenger be so calm, cool, and collected and be treated very nicely and very normal-like?
Definitely.
If George Floyd was not going to be treated that way. The reason why George Floyd was not treated that way is because he was acting erratically, and the officer was trying to get him to calm down. Now, the officer did draw his gun and told George Floyd to get out because his erratic behavior.
I played enough. I think I played enough. I played a good 3 minutes and 40-something seconds. And like I said, what he's doing is he's painting a picture of George Floyd being the reason that he died. He goes on to say, about the different autopsies and that nature. But I'm going to say this real quick. Matter of fact, let me get over here and go to the phones. Soapbox Heroes caller, you on the line. What's on your mind? Hey, Brother Jesse, how you doing, Brother Jesse? How you feeling?
Brother, I can break that down for you.
Break it down, Brother Jesse, because this guy, there you go. He black. He's black.
He got black plans too.
There you go.
There's these guys that sell their mama out for a white man.
Him? Go ahead.
That's one of those. But let me just say, you break all this down to you, brother. We'll take it down real easy. Okay, first of all, you have the biggest clown in the White House thought that he can change the date of the election. Come to find out they got the 20th Amendment of the Constitution that claims that no, that never happened. Although it did happen twice in the early stage of this country, the first 20 years it happened twice, but never since, even during the Civil War. They had to do it, but no. But anyway, to make a long story short on that, okay, this is how it goes. If even if nobody ran against this clown in the house, and him and his puppet are there, the way it is stated by law, occupy the house of the presidency and the vice presidency on January 20th. They got to get out of the White House January 20th. Whoever is in the White House. And what happened if nobody isn't running against the clown and he's in the White House, he has to get out on January 20th. Who wound up being the president is the Speaker of the House. So Nancy Pelosi will wind up being your president.
I'm scared of that.
Yeah, clown don't know that, so I thought I'd break that down to you.
You know he don't know that, Jesse. Go ahead.
The status is something to put again, both of his own people, the Chinese who trying to help him.
Jesse, what do you think about the analysis of this guy? I think his name is Anthony Brian Logan, and what he's trying to do is switch the narrative.
You say he's a black person?
Yeah, he's a black person, but he's a pro-Trump supporter. He's a Republican. He's a part of a move called Blexit, the black exit from the Democratic Party. But does it seem like he's just like trying to pander to white fragility?
Thing called Black for Donald Trump. That's what Herman Cain was trying to do up in Tulsa.
Well, he would be one of them.
They got some colored people in the South that tried to get that because he showed some. They said colored preachers for Trump, but all that is a joke. He already know he on his way out, and now he tried to change that. Even when he tried to change that by law, he still won't be president. By law, he's still out by the 20th of January. Every occupier in the White House got to be out of that White House by the 20th of January. You got to get up out of there. My boy Paris Ely read that very well this morning. Listening to him.
My main man Paris Ely, P.E., the prophet.
Oh my God, he know me, the plant man.
All right, look. So what do you think? And let me ask you real quick before we get to the next call. Did you hear Bill Clinton take a swipe at Stokely Carmichael at John Lewis's funeral? How should I take that, Jesse? What should I think about that?
Okay, well, see, I think he had a confused moment, and it was that was Stokely Carmichael, which I know quite well because, like I said, I was in the organizations at that time, and at that time we all communicated all across the United States. All black organizations communicated with each other. They sent some people down here that have trouble with the law, and they take care of their families. Same thing how we do. We send people up there. So it was like an exchange of during the 60s that we all knew each other. We all communicated with each other. So like you knew every student, you know.
So was he wrong, or was he wrong, or do you feel he was out of place? Was it the right place, right time?
He was confused. He really don't know nothing about black people. All he knows is that black people exist. But
so that's Bill Clinton, right?
Yeah, he loved to put back on the plantation because I've seen how he did Hillary Clinton when she was running against Barack Obama. Play down to Barack Obama. You know, like, oh, he's just a house me, you know. And
them racist comments that he made in South Carolina. I remember that, Jesse.
That clown, but he's just a clown that don't know what to do with himself. He's not president no more. But one thing about him, he's much better clown than the real clown we got in the White House because at least he got some education. He's got some education.
Well, you know what, Jesse? Let me tell you something real quick, brother Jesse. Jesse, this is why I love you so much. I'm very intrigued because I'm glad to see that you're just very honest. So when you're talking about Donald Trump, you still have the ability to be honest about Bill Clinton. Because I run into people now who will say they won't say anything in truth about Bill Clinton because they almost look at that like you're elevating Donald Trump. And I'm like, no, Trump could still be a turd and Bill Clinton could still be no good. Both of those things can ride in the same car.
Somebody say we got that smirk on his face. Just on high school. With the track. On one side of the track, he say he hates them the side of the track where he's black. He said, I'm going to blow a microphone for you.
Brother Jesse. Oh, Brother Jesse, I'm smiling ear to ear.
Both sides of that coin.
All right, Jesse, let you get the last word so we can get to the next call.
On people, with the coach had on his shirt for the Rockets, he had vote. So everybody just vote. Don't let none of this clown stuff on social media get next to you. Don't believe nothing on social media. Because all that fake news, just like the president, well, he ain't no president, I just call him number 45, 46, whatever number is. He's not no president. Now, one thing that is true about him, he's a serial killer.
A serial killer?
Probably a serial killer, just like his daddy. He's a sociopath and a psychopath. And both of those ingredients equal serial killer. And so, there's many people that are dying in America from this virus He's enjoying it because that's what serial killers do. They love to see people die. For them, it's like Christmas every day when they get a number. So he's not trying to do that. This is what he's about. He's a serial killer. And as long as you clowns keep trying to say, you know, you fall out and die, well, he ain't gonna come to your funeral. Believe that.
He ain't coming. All right, brother Jesse. Thank you for the call. I appreciate it, Jesse.
Okay.
God bless you, Jesse. I appreciate that. I love it when brother Jesse called. He always just sprinkle me with just a little more knowledge than I had previously. 12:30 The Source. You are on the line. This is Soapbox Heroes. What's on your mind?
Oh, what's going on, man?
What's going on? What's going on? How you feeling?
Oh, I'm feeling all right. I'm just listening to this conversation, and I really like conversations that not only me, but the state of Texas and other elected officials consider the expert on. And as a former field training officer in a police department,
Okay.
I can guarantee you right now, just information. I have not been privileged to see that I have to make calls. I was an internal affairs commander. I investigated cops that was where citizenry made a complaint. But I'm for real. There's a person as a teenager that got pulled over by HPD. Me and my partner was abused. It was all because I was color. We did nothing wrong. We ain't had no criminal, no nothing. You know, some of the HPD officers that had retired that hold prestigious position. Anyway, all I gotta tell you, when that fella, even if George Floyd talked all of that noise, police academy, noise that'll kill you.
Break him down.
Your personal temperament as a cop. Everybody cannot be a cop because they want to wear a uniform and a badge and legally carry a gun, and it makes them feel like a hero or a superhero, a god. Because when you look at people like that commit stuff like that, usually in their background in the elementary school or junior high school, they was bullied. Either by family members or their peers and stuff. And they was scary people. Most cops that do that, they cowards.
Right. Spivey, let me ask you this. Go ahead.
What I say is, like I've been saying, as a former cop that came from the ground up to an executive position where I was a leader to make changes and also write and get approved by commissioner's court SOP policies, which needed to put the training of our officers because of my past schooling and my common sense. I don't know. I'm not special. You got common sense.
Right.
Unless this government, which is led by y'all president, is changed. And we can make a change because we have our elected officials in elective office. And we know what the problem is and how to do it. But the problem is, you have to put enough pressure on people that's impossible to make the decision to change not just the training, but at least when you're recruiting policemen, deputies or whatever, everybody got to take a polygraph test with those that not know what that is. There's a lot of things.
Well, Spivey, I think they're going to have to do more at vetting these people coming in the first place. It has to be a better vetting process. Favoritism.
Some of a lie detector test. Make this a question, because I had a friend that was an HPD recruiter. He's retired now. He was a little kid who I grew up in. He went on the HPD. And we recruited. But guess what? the
Hey.
set of questions that you ask you on the
Great.
polygraph has nothing to do with whether you are a racist.
So they're not asking any questions that they would be able to find out whether you have racist or these or not.
Yes, they refuse to put that on.
Well, if they refuse to put it on, that means they refusing to try to see it.
They already know what the truth is. They want the Pope that's in power to be in whatever facets of profession, especially in law and people of authority. We must rule out the cause of police brutality, not because we do have people that break the law. Really not. When I arrested people, they was all colors.
Right. Oh, so you mean that it's not only one color of people that break law? Is everybody?
Let's put it like this. There is a no type of definition. A criminal has not been defined as no particular racial persuasion, your sexual orientation, or your lack of education. Because what you do when you become a criminal, you do it from, like you say, people commit crimes, kill people, they false when they catch a thief back in the day. Accident, they do it. They do it because they was born with that seed of badness. I got kids folks like that.
So they were born as bad. There wasn't nothing you could do about it. Hey, here, look, we getting pushed up on time, Spivey. But let me ask. No. I want to ask you about this guy that we were listening to earlier. Do you hear what I'm hearing? Is he trying to make an excuse for that murderer when it comes to George Floyd? And what the hell wrong with him, Spivey?
He is part of the socialist. They try to say that President Obama was kind of like a socialist and all that. When you hear people say that, they already know that he's not. They do that to cover up the real motive. The whole reason is the people that's in power in the United States, until we wipe out racism, is the root cause of all of the problems that we're discussing on every radio station. They not like you. You got people like Rush Limbaugh who support
that's their crowd. That's how they making money, Spivey. I'll be honest with you, man. This whole truth thing don't get you paid.
It will do. It will make you wind up like Martin Luther King is demise. It will make Malcolm X. I couldn't tell you, I'm 71, bro. I've been here. I just worked in San Francisco, even though I'm from Houston. When I got the military in California, I worked at the VA. I lived right across the street from San Francisco University, where Angela Davis was a professor. Can you? I got a chance, coming from, Houston in the military, because I deal with people from Chicago, New York. They call us, even from Houston, Texas. We big cities for the opposite. They call us just a big country town. But guess who was in the barracks, and even in basic training, and even at all my hangouts, and all my homies I met in the military stuff, to the club, who without a single word saying, emerged as the leader. What do you think we ought to do, Simon? And Houston as a teenager. It was recognized. I don't know. I just think, but if something didn't feel right to me, I did it. And you go ahead and do it. But when I left and went home, you come back the next day, man, you was right. Multiple times, my peers start saying, if he don't feel right, we go on with him.
All right, Spivey.
Real easy. All you gotta do is just sit down, get away from things on your mind, off your mind, and just choose to just really think.
Just think.
About what the process of thinking is all about. Why do human beings have a process of thinking and animals have a process of pure instinct?
Yeah, and figuring out what your process is. But Spivey, we gotta run real quick. I gotta get this little Bill Clinton taking a swipe at Stokely Carmichael in real quick before we go.
Oh, don't worry about it. I'm gonna holler at you tomorrow already, bro. That's what I do.
All right, Spivey.
And I appreciate you.
I appreciate you. Thank you, Spivey. Have a wonderful night. Hey, you guys, and look, and on that last video that I played, I'm gonna make it real short and real simple. I think these guys, they do it because they create an audience off of it, and once they see what works, they just kind of dig in. And you have, millions of people that don't like things that Black people do. And so they automatically are going to have a following, but I think they do it for profit. I think they do it for, but I also think it's very dangerous. So I would hope that, you don't pay these guys no attention, and that, their thoughts don't permeate society as something that is true. When it comes down to the footage of the arrest of George Floyd, I'm going to say this. There is nothing he was doing that constituted murder. That's it. There's nothing else to talk about. If he was on drugs, that don't mean you should murder him. If he was being sporadic, that don't mean he deserved to be murdered. If he laid out on the ground because he didn't want to get in the back of a police car, that do not mean he needed to be murdered. I'm not going to sit here and make no excuses. I'm not going to sit here and try to reason or rationalize anything, because it doesn't matter. He did not deserve to be murdered. And so anybody trying to rationalize it, go on and stop. But let me do this real quick before we run out of time. I wanted to at least play it. We got old Billy Boy, fresh off of Epstein Island. Oops, did I say that? At John Lewis's funeral, taking a swipe out of Stokely Carmichael. So I'm going to leave you with this, just so you know, just in case you didn't hear it, and I want to know what you think later. Let me know. This is old Billy Boy.
Just 3 years later, he lost the leadership of SNCC to Stokely Carmichael, because he said, it was a pretty good job for a guy that young and come from Troy, Alabama. It must have been painful to lose, but he showed as a young man, there are some things that you cannot do to hang on to a position, because if you do them, you won't be who you are anymore. And I say there were 2 or 3 years there where the movement went a little bit too far towards Stokely, but
the movement went a little too far towards Stokely. He sounded like me. He was saying that Stokely was being somebody that he wasn't, or John Lewis didn't want to compromise who he was. But what was wrong with Stokely? So again, you guys, next time I'm here, if you guys could call and let me know. I don't know. Brother Jesse said, "Oh, Bill just must have forgot, or he don't know what he's talking about."
in the end, John Lewis prevailed.
In the end, John Lewis prevailed. In other words, Stokely failed. Now, why? Is that because John Lewis went on to have a fruitful career in Congress? Or was it because he cared more Black people? What does that fail? What is the measure of that? Hey, you guys, look, I'm going to go ahead and bounce up out of here like all with too much air. My name is Tyrone Irvin. This is Soapbox Heroes. I'm going to catch you guys later. Peace.
This is love, I don't see it. Can't make me believe it. You was nice, girl, from down my hood to Ocean Street. Yeah, you know my weakness. Sucker for some love type. I come from